Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Splashing Thoughts. So, this week we'll look a little bit at what happened in the past couple of days, in the past week. And there's a couple of things that happened which are just mind blowing in a way. A lot of newsworthy stuff. So, we'll start it off with Chop, Chaz canceled, whatever you may want to call it. So basically, this whole Chop situation has finally solved itself. Um, it started off as I guess, as a positive dream for Democrats. They were Democrats. Let's not be kidding ourselves. Those were not as much as Democrats claimed not affiliated. They were affiliated. These were Democrats that tried to do this. So how it all came about is obviously because of the police brutality that took place. These guys just, I don't know, went cuckoo, and they just took ownership of the Capitol Hill zone. They declared themselves autonomous, and they started to have a utopian life without police, without walls, without restrictions of any kind, and so on and so forth. So that was the dream. What happened on day two? They ended up building a wall to keep everybody out. Then they ended up installing some sort of a police or militia, if you want to call it. So they ended up basically doing what they didn't want others to do onto them. So they started policing the place. They were against guns. What did they do? They ended up getting a bunch of guns. What that ended up doing for most of these individuals is that it caused a little bit of a chaotic situation, almost apocalyptic style type of situation. People were being dragged in the mud. People were being harassed. And then I think a week and a half into it, we started seeing, I think, the first murder, and then a second murder, and then more brutality kicked in. There was even a young 17-year-old that got shot in the shoulder, and ambulance couldn't get to him to help him in time. Anyway, a lot of crazy stuff happened. So ultimately, the law enforcement was basically, they just barged in and took everybody out, kicked everybody out. All the militia, all the goons there, just kicked them out and cleaned up the place. Now let's analyze why Chop was let do what it is that they did for so long. And I believe that's a Trump strategy to show you how Democrat cities are just poorly run. And ultimately, this is what we've seen. I mean, we've seen the situation where, chaos just took reign over the place. It rained, what, about 2 weeks or so? Time into which, if he would have taken the necessary actions by force at the very beginning, then he would have been seen as the bad guy. So by him letting these guys kill themselves and ridicule themselves and bury themselves ultimately with their nonsense, this is basically what we ended up seeing, is that exactly that scenario happened. We have seen these individuals that ruined the place. And of course, they were Democrats, and it was in a Democrat city. And now, obviously, other normal Democrats, normal in the head Democrats, if you wish, saw an opportunity to put an end to this nonsense. And the only way to do this was with Trump's help. So clearly, I believe, was going to see that as a result in November. People are going to vote for Trump because he saved their ass, out of this situation. No matter how anybody's going to twist it, it was him that saved the situation. All right, so let's move on to what I believe to be another Trump strategy, and that is Kanye West that declares he will run for president in 2020. So I don't necessarily believe the fake news when they claim that Kanye is against Trump or doesn't like him anymore or something like that. I believe the very essence of this strategy is to take voters away from Biden, okay, from the Democrats, um, to give black people an option because a lot of a lot of times, even though Trump has done a lot for the black community in the states, new jobs, a lot of things. He has also pardoned a lot of black individuals from jail. So there's a lot of good things that Trump has done. Some bad things as well. Okay, but we're not here to talk about that. So either way, some of these black individuals are by design they're not going to vote for Trump because they don't just represent they don't identify, even though I believe they should, because the Republican Party was actually the one that put an end to the slavery. But whatever, that was back then, right? It doesn't matter today. So but anyway, you go ahead and vote Democrat if you want. What I believe is the case with Kanye is that this is again another Trump strategy to take away these votes from the Democrats, and funnel them to another party, which would be Kanye's party. So that's the whole spiel behind it. If you're not going to vote for Democrat and you don't want to vote the Republican, you're going to vote Kanye, especially if you're a black individual. But I think a lot of white people might actually vote for this guy. He's not that crazy. I mean, some of the things he said in this past week are downright, rational things. So check him out. I mean, there's a lot of good things that are, prone to happen with this guy. All right, so talked about Kanye. Let's chat a little about coronavirus, because why not? Coronavirus. Is it a hoax? Is it not a hoax? We're not gonna know. It's probably gonna end up being one of those scenarios just like 9/11, where everybody kind of knows what happened, with the American government being behind it, and then, but nobody's admitting it, so we don't know for sure. So probably coronavirus, the same thing. I mean, it's one of those where we know that Fauci is the one that outsourced the research of coronaviruses back in 2014. It was a five-year term with China, Wuhan lab. So that part happened. Yes, it happened. It's not a conspiracy. It actually happened. But the point I'm trying to make here is a lot of people are talking about these spikes in coronavirus cases in the past week. Okay, like, oh my God, we got to blame somebody. And of course, the easiest target to blame is Trump. So blaming Trump for new cases with his rally in Tulsa. Now, remember how much fun fake news media made about that rally, that it was just a couple of thousand people that showed up? And I think the total number, they were expecting 20,000 and only like 7 or 8,000, or tops 10,000 showed up. Okay, so you had 10,000 people that showed up at the rally. Let's be logical about this. So 10,000 people show up at the rally, and then in the United States, if you're looking at the cases, so we have now, as you can see here, we have a lot of cases. 43,000 a day, 50, 46, 50, 62. How the fuck can you claim that the Trump rally is responsible for so many daily cases when there were only 10,000 of them? Let's be fucking serious, guys. Like, use your logic, right? You have 10,000 people. How can they, generate that many cases? And not even in fucking Arizona or where that was. Look at the cases, right, in Arizona. I mean, 3,000, 4,000 cases a day. If you add all of these fuckers up, it's way more than 10,000 people that showed up at the rally. Okay, let's look at New York. New York. There you go. So New York, July, bam, bam, bam. You have a couple of hundreds of cases. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at Alabama, just for the heck of it. Look at that, 800 cases. Let's look at I don't know, something else. Yeah, So that's what I mean. It's like it just doesn't add up. So fake news is trying to blame it on Trump, but what we have seen in all these other counties is we had a bunch of riots, right? And I think the riots they're in the hundreds of thousands across the U.S. And so that makes a bit more sense for these coronavirus cases to spike countrywide. Otherwise in Tulsa you would have seen 10,000 cases, and that's not the case. We haven't seen 10,000 new cases. So anyway, I believe that the Trump rallies are not the cause of this new spike in coronavirus cases. Let me open up a small parenthesis here. So the CDC claimed 2-3 days ago that if you're doing a COVID test and you have a cold or a flu or the flu, your COVID test will show positive. So let that sink in a little bit. What's coronavirus really? I believe it's really this year's flu. Okay, that's my personal belief. So we'll see how that unfolds as well. Now let's talk a little bit about the Russia bounty and how it's being claimed that Russians put bounties on American soldiers over the past couple of years. Well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm not here to question the veracity of it. I'm simply here to question the fact that why do you care? Honestly, why does it matter if Russia puts a bounty on a soldier or not? And I would like to explain that a little bit. What happens is, as a soldier, okay, I haven't been in the army, so I don't know, but I've heard, okay, from other individuals that have been in the army, and the way it works is, you are being told as a soldier, you're being told that when you leave your country, you are at risk. Anybody can shoot you. You are at risk, and especially if you go into Afghanistan, Iran, Tajikistan, but fucking whatever the fuck country you're going, all right, you're at risk. So does it really matter if Russians put a bounty on your head? Does it, I mean, you're going into a war zone. Who cares? Who the fuck cares who's gonna shoot you at the end of the day? You're going there. You're gonna probably end up getting a bullet. So don't go. That's my belief. But anyway, you're going. You're at risk. Why are the Democrats trying to make such a big fuss about, oh my God, Russia put bounties and Trump knew. So what? Who gives a flying fuck if he knew? It doesn't matter. Whether he knew or not is not important. What's important is that soldiers know that they're walking into harm's way every time they leave their country, whether it's a German soldier, UK based soldier, Irish soldier, Israeli, American, doesn't fucking matter, Canadian, doesn't matter. They know that as soon as they leave their soil, their motherland, they will be at risk. So it doesn't matter if their president knows that they're walking into a trap. It doesn't freaking matter. They already know they're walking into one. So this is again another way that the Democrats are trying to put blame on Trump. Man, this guy can take a lot. This is fucking crazy. He can definitely take a lot. It's just phenomenal how much stuff he can take. So if anything, this guy deserves to be president. I mean, wow, the things he has to put up with, the fake impeachment trial, the Russia gate before, the comments he made in the past. Oh God, and I look forward obviously to hearing about the next item. So anyway, but yeah, so this is what I had this week. I will be looking forward to listening from to see you again next week with more splashing thoughts. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, like the videos, share them if you like them, comment down below, and if you have any ideas of anything else you want me to cover, go ahead. I look forward to talking to you next week.